So we're out here asking people, what is the gospel? Because that's the greatest question that you could ever ask.
Well, to me, the gospel now in the 20th century, 21st century, I guess now what we're in, is more a lifestyle than anything else. And when you go to church, especially as a young student, a teenager, a child, it's more preached to you than taught to you. And I think personally that if young teens were more involved in, let's say, Sunday school, I was very involved with that as a younger kid, and that sort of shaped who I am now and who I'm going to be. So it more influenced me as a younger person than as an active adult, as of now.
The gospel.
That's a good word
for this. No, you're not going to get in trouble.
Sir, I have no religion. I'm sorry.
I would just say that it's more of guidelines and shouldn't necessarily, or isn't necessarily taken very literally, but it's just a good guideline and way to attempt to live your life.
Bro, how about, would you like to say something?
I'm atheist.
That's all right. Say
Well,
what
if you're
the gospel
atheist,
is.
you
then.
can't really be
gonna
a
high
religion
five?
because you're still believing in that religion to be an atheist.
Being atheist means
Exactly, but you have to believe in atheism to even be an atheist.
I'd reach for your hand, but it's too close to your dinner.
This guy wants to talk.
Yeah, I don't
ready.
Dude, you gotta scrunch down or I gotta put it over my head here. There we go.
Well, the gospel is what you believe in, and it's what you can follow, but it's also what you can take grace from and use in your own faith. And you can take good feelings from it, and it's a warm embrace.
Yep. So the gospel to me is a story about Jesus and all of the disciples and their journey through the old world, teaching people about God. That's it.
Honestly, I used to be a Christian.
It's kind of silly, actually.
I used to love Christ.
Religion's different.
Now I'm just confused. You know, there's a lot of things that have gone like wrong with my life, and I'm not really blaming it on anybody else but myself. But it's just something I'm gonna have to live with. You know.
I wonder what Transcend thinks of the gospel. Is the finger motion any clue? What is the gospel?
Okay. Well, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ.
Nice.
So I am convicted that the gospel is that the love of God has saved us from the wrath of God through His Son, Jesus Christ.
Nice.
He provided a way for us to come into relationship with the God who created us and loves us, and that there is no other way to it except through Christ.
That's great.
I was a Christian for a while. I became agnostic. Not because atheism is just stupid being, but like agnostic. Like basically, my problem became is like God didn't send Jesus down here for us to follow dogmatic law. It was more of like the way a parent looks at a child. They want a relationship, and it's like God doesn't want you to sit back and like just like love Him because you're stupid. Like I don't care, just love God. It's like no, God wants you to love God for a reason. And the fact that like I understand all that, my thing is I have very little proof.
We do an event called Theology Pub once a month where we meet at Mulligan's Pub and we talk about different topics related to Christianity, the Bible, and drink beer. And so
Two of my
this
favorite
month
things.
we're talking.
I know, right?
This month we're talking about what is the gospel.
Okay, so what is the gospel?
Ready?
Yeah,
Okay. It's the good news.
that was kind of anticlimactic. That's good.
It was a lot better the first time.
It was funnier.
See what happens when you catch me on the second time and tell me to do it again?
Yeah.
So we've been asking people what is the gospel, and we've got some interesting answers. I think it's been fun. It's been provocative. I think the gal that said that it was the love of God that saved us from the wrath of God is a very interesting answer, because it is truly the love of God that sent Jesus Christ, the Son of God, into this world, into our world, to take on human flesh, to die in our place, to propitiate, the theological term is, the wrath of God. Because we were on a collision course with God's wrath. And here's the thing about the gospel, is that we have to see the gospel relating to creation, fall, and redemption. God created this world and he said it was good. He created man and he said it was good. He said everything was good. And yet because of sin, because of our decision to rebel against God, we entered into a situation where we were now under the wrath of God. And yet God didn't place us under his wrath. He sent his son to take his wrath upon himself. And so that's really what the gospel is. It's the love of God taking upon himself the consequence and the repercussions of our sin so that he could restore us back to his original created goodness. Hey, we just wanted to invite you out to Theology Pub here at Mulligan's Pub on Drake and College, the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. In this coming Theology Pub, we are going to be talking about the subject of what is the gospel.